What's up, boys? Today I want to show you my latest build that I feel like is probably the best build so far for Delirium, a build I'll probably be playing next league even when poisons get nerfed. I'm talking about a Freezing Pulse, Impulsa, Exploit Chest build. Currently I'm playing poisons. As you can see, the build is kind of speedy, as as all of my builds are. But this build is different. This build is a lot different because this build is almost making you immortal. So how so? The reason why the build is making you immortal is because I'm using different skill. I'm using Freezing Pulse. As you guys can see, all the mobs are being frozen all the mobs in the whole area are being frozen by me using the Freezing Pulse. Freezing Pulse has the highest speed and the highest map coverage I've ever seen in my whole life. So far from what I see, it effectively covers the whole map, it freezes all the mobs almost instantly. It actually have even the frozen bosses. So far I've gotten to freeze the last boss of Delirium in my maps. You still kinda can't really freeze bosses, but you can freeze the map boss, which is why I'm using this build. It makes it incredibly safe and it's really fun to use. It gives me a lot more quality of life, which I really enjoy. You can make this build on a Magic Find version, but I chose not to because I don't really enjoy Magic Find too much. I prefer to use my quality of life over more gains. And obviously you can make this build work even on a Magic Find build, but that's up to you. I know a lot of you guys have been trying to make my Magic Find build work, and I have to tell you once again, if you don't have the investment, if you don't have high enough investment, if you don't have Awakened Gems, do not play Magic Find. If you don't have a HH, do not play Magic Find. You'll not have a good time playing full Magic Find on this build. Yes, the build is OP. Yes, poisons are OP. But if you don't even have the investment for an HH, it's probably not that OP. Let's be real, guys. If you don't have money for an HH, you probably have to be playing full damage build instead. Quality of life is really important. You dying every map 5 times over and over is not gonna make you much profits. You'll waste the time, just wait until you can afford to buy more gear. And again, you can make this build as a Magic Find, but I chose not to because I prefer to have a chill and enjoyable gameplay. On this video, I was making almost, I believe I was actually leveling. I almost got a full level on stream today without dying once to Deliriums because of how safe this build is. All Freezing Pulse by itself has a bit less damage scaling than Frostball does, so you have a little bit less single target damage, but because you're not going to be using JMP, it effectively makes up to be about the same amount of damage, to be real. I prefer this build to Frostbolt because Frostbolt is kind of difficult to make work. If you want to have your Frostbolt be fast, you're gonna have to get some more gems like faster projectiles, and that will hurt your damage a lot. So that's why I'm playing Freezing Pulse. Freezing Pulse inherently has more freezing power, so you have high chance of freezing mobs, and it's a lot faster. As you can see, I'm clearing almost the whole map. But let me show you guys what makes this build special. This build does not need an exploit chest. This build has inherent exploit chest that I'll show you here. For this build, I'll be using Impulsa. Impulsa apparently does more damage than exploit chest and has more quality of life. Currently I'm using +2 circuit projectile gems on my Impulsa, which I got for 25 exalts, which is still cheaper than an exploit chest. So let me show what it does. So my Impulsa increases my damage by 50% if I shocked an enemy recently. You're going to be shocking enemies off your innovates, so you'll always be having shocked buffs, so you'll always be dealing plus 50% damage. On top of that, you're also doing damage to shocked enemies. If you're killing shocked enemies, those enemies will explode for 5% of their maximum life, compared to 3% of their maximum life if you're playing a physics exploit. So you get 2% more damage increase, plus you'll be getting poison scaling. So the poison is gonna scale your explosive much more, making your Impulsa even stronger. So how am I getting shocked? How am I shocking enemies, and how does this work? So I'm using those two cluster jewels that make up the whole build possible. One of my nodes is giving me cold conduction. Enemies chilled by hits are shocked, and enemies shocked by hits are chilled, which makes all of my freezing pulse hits chill and shock at the same time, making my impulsor have almost the whole um, zone coverage. Like all the mobs you can see in your screen will be shocked and will be frozen at the same time. And on top of this, I'm also using Snowstorm. Snowstorm converts 10% of my lightning damage as extra cold damage against your enemies. What it does is, every time your impulsor explodes, it'll apply chill effect from the extra cold damage. So effectively, you'll be applying chill effect off your explodies, and you'll be applying shock effect on the same mobs, making your impulsor effectively shocking by itself, exploding by itself, which is really, really fucking good. Impulse is not designed to be uh, exploding off itself, but because of this cluster jewel, it does. It makes this just insanely, insanely good. For my links, I'll be using cold damage, of course. It's probably the best and highest damage dealing gem in the whole game for you. You have to be using Awaken level 5. Awaken level 5 gives you +1 to cold gems, which is really, really good. It scales the damage by a ton, so you should really look into buying this. Of course, I can custom crit. You don't have to be. It doesn't have to be level 6. The reason why I have this because I got lucky in the first day of the league. Second, of course, Freezing Pulse, level 21. The higher the level, the more damage you're going to be doing. And Awakened Cold Penetration. The reason why I'm using Awakened Cold Penetration is because freezing mobs and bosses is really important for quality of life. The higher your freeze chance, and higher your cold penetration, the higher the chances of you freeze, and make your gameplay a lot smoother. Again, I haven't died for about 10 maps in a row, which I think is really good for full Delirium. Most builds, even Aura Stalkers, will still sometimes die, and I feel like it was probably the best defensive layer you can probably ask for. On top of this, I'm using Pandemonius. Pandemonius increases my chill effects, gives me more gold penetration, and blinds chilled enemies. All the enemies near you are chilled, so all the enemies are gonna be blinded, making you even more evasive. Of course, I'll be using Circles of Fear for extra cold damage and herald effect. This is pretty much a staple. If you can't afford it, I suggest you buy the Mark of the Shaper plus an Eldering for extra damage. But since I have the money and I feel like the build itself is quite cheap because of the exploit chest, Impulsa, 6 link Impulsa is I think 4 exhaust right now. So 4 exhausts for 6 link Impulsa is really fucking good. So you can probably afford some rings. Of course, for the belt, I'm using Headhunter. Headhunter makes the game a lot easier. If you haven't had much experience in Delirium, so just wait until you get a Headhunter. The reason why I can farm Delirium without a Headhunter is because I'm used to it. I have almost a year's experience farming Delirium, so not having a change is not that big of a deal for me, but it might be a big deal for you. I know a lot of people are still dying to Delirium, so hopefully this guide is going to help them make the gameplay a lot easier and smoother for you guys. For my gloves, I'll be using the same gloves as I was using before, plus 2 circular OAU gems, plus energy shield, and plus elemental weakness. You don't need plus 2 level with gems, and you don't really need the ES. All you really need is the curse on hit. Curse on hit makes you do maybe like plus 30% damage increase, I'd say, so it's quite huge. I really, really suggest you have those gloves. Any other gloves will not be giving you this much damage. For my boots, again, I don't have any movement speed. Actually, no, I have 25% movement speed. I don't have any tailwind. I'm just using those boots for life and resistances. As you can see, all of my resistances are tier 1, so those are quite good. Again, cosplays, I'll be using Ice Nova, Innervate, and Ice Blade. Innervate is needed to get more damage from your Impulsor for the 50% damage increase, and just some nice additional damage. For my main cosplay, I'm using Diversion Frostbite, which increases the chance to freeze by 45%. 45% extra chance to freeze is insane, and it's gonna allow you to freeze a lot of bosses and a lot of beyond bosses as well. Again, I'm using Frostbomb, not alternative, just basic Frostbomb, and a Frostbolt. Personally, I feel like Frostbolt is a bit lacking in this build. I might be looking to buy a different gem for my weapon. Because it seems like Frostbolt, it doesn't proc enough when using free spells, so it might be, the free spells might be blocking off a lot of Frostbolt damage. But doesn't really matter as long as you have the weapon and the curse. For my uh, jewels, I'm using 20 jewels, I'm using First Snow. First Snow gives you plus 2 additional projectiles on Freezing Pulse and plus 25% damage increase on Freezing Pulse damage. This is insane because this gives if you using two of them, it gives you plus 50% freezing pulse damage, making the most damage doing skill in Delirium. Plus 50% freezing pulse damage is completely insane. You should really look into buying two of them. Of course, it will be really difficult to manage your resistances. Currently, I don't even have full resistances, as you can see, but I was still not dying in Delirium because of my Vizok. For my other talents, I'm still using the same stuff. I'm still using Frozen Trail. I feel like I'll probably be losing my Frozen Trail soon enough, because it seems like Frostbolt isn't that good, but more or less it's gonna be the same build. If you already have a full Frostbolt build, or if you already have a full um, Ice Nova build, sorry, if you have a full Ice Nova build, you shouldn't have to invest too much into your build anymore beyond that point. Just change some links, get an Impulsor. If you don't want to use Impulsor, that's fine. You can use an Exploit Chest if you have one. Exploit Chest is more or less the same damage, because you have Cold Conversion in Exploit Chest, so that doesn't really make much of a difference. I personally like Impulsor because it's one of my favorite items, and it's really cheap. As of what I'm farming right now, I am currently farming tier 15 Burial Chambers, 5 Delirium Orbs for Scarabs. Currently, I feel like Scarabs are very expensive and really good to farm. On average, you'll be making about 10 sulfides per map, 10 rusted sulfides per map, which adds up to about 90C just from rusted sulfides. 90C and then 6cc from polished, so that's already almost 2 exalts, plus bestiality. Scarabs are actually going in price again, going up in price again, and a lot of other stuff. Simulacrums as well, you'll be making 1 exalt per map, making fossils, even if they were 4 exalts each, still profitable. On average, I was making about 2.5 exalts per map from all of my returns. That doesn't include my bulk prices, and I feel like you'll be making a lot more money if you sell in bulk. I hope you guys enjoy, and I hope you continue farming Delirium. Delirium is such a fun mechanic, and I feel like heist is killing the game. Heist is not that profitable. I was talking to some people. Those people are making about 3 exalts on Grand Heists, having the best trinket, having the best builds. 3 exalts an hour on Heist is really low. I'm making 3 exalts every 10 minutes because I'm being efficient. I'm farming really fast. I go in, I clear the map as if it's a normal map, pick up my loot in about 5 to 8 minutes on average, and I just got my rewards. It's so easy, it's so free. Delirium is still the best dig mechanic out there. I feel like if you have the intent, if you enjoy the content, you will make a lot of money. So hope that helps you guys. This will be my build for the next league 100%. I'll be using this even if Poisons got nerfed, with minor adjustments, but for Delirium, still the best build possible. And even Aura Stackers don't really compare because they're more expensive, and to make an Aura Stacker work in full Delirium, you at least have to spend, I'd say, 6 mirrors. If you have 6 mirrors, you shouldn't be worrying about Delirium, dude. If you have 6 mirrors, go delve, go do something else, go have fun and enjoy the game. You shouldn't be comparing an Aura Stacker to a Delirium, to a cheap Delirium build. All of those items I can probably buy for. I actually have bought it. I was using those items on the first day of the league. On the first day of the league, I've gotten my cosplays at 1 exalt each. I've gotten my Impulsor for 3 exalts, which I linked myself. I ended up about 5 exalts. So 5 exalts, 1 exalt, 7 exalts. My helmet was kind of expensive this league because of the poison BV players. I bought it for 2 exalts this league. So that's still 9 exalts, and everything else was quite cheap. So you can make this build work on a league start. You can make a lot of money. In the first couple of days of the league, a couple of weeks of the league actually, you can make huge rewards farming full deliriums. I'm talking about making a mirror a day on the first couple of days of the leagues, just farming blights, just farming scarabs. Mobs were 35C each, or maybe even more than that. I think I was selling mine for 45C for tier 16s at the first couple of days of the league. And people are buying those. People are buying those. And you'll always be making money back. You'll always be making money back, and you'll always be making huge profits. So I hope you enjoy. I hope you get to use this build. I feel like I don't really have any more adjustments for the build. This will be my final build for now, until I find anything else. I'll still be buying a lot of new items, I'll still be looking for improvements, but as of right now, invest into this build if you can, and you'll make a lot of money. I hope you enjoy, and have a good night. I love you all.